Hi YouTube, my name is Stephanie, also known as Oh So Crafty on Ravelry and my blog. This is my first video for FlossTube. I'm a cross stitcher. I learned when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I've been doing it most of my life, off and on. And I really got back into it hardcore around 2012. That's when we bought our house, and suddenly I had all this wall space that needed to be filled, so I started stitching a lot to create pieces. So today I'm going to talk about my whips and a little bit of a stitchy haul from Christmas, and then finally show you a few finally finished objects, 2 pieces I framed for Christmas. So without further ado, I'm going to start with my whips, the most current ones I've been doing a little crazy January thing where I've been starting a new project every week. So the thing I've worked on most currently is Love with a capital L by Papillon Creations. There's the pattern, and here's my whip. So I'm stitching this on 25 count vintage antique white Lugana, stitching it 1/1 on 25 count. So it's my first time doing that, stitching 1/1 on 25 count, and I actually really like it. It's not as hard as I thought, and I love how like little and delicate it looks. I'm using Gloriana silk in 2 colors, crimson and pumpkin. I've been skipping around a bit because I need some more colors. I don't like the P and the K, how it looks in the pumpkin color. I just feel like it's too pale, so I've ordered a few darker colors to try. Copper and antique gold dark, I think it is, so we'll see what those look like, and then I'll keep working on it. My plan for this project is to add an additional section to the bottom that has some personal details concerning our wedding. I've been married for 10 years, and I've never really stitched. I stitched a few things for my husband, but nothing really large, so I figured it was about time. So moving on to The 12 Days of Christmas by Joan Elliott. This is from a Design Works kit that I picked up on eBay, and it's a beautiful design, very detailed, kind of large. The kit came with 14 count white Aida cloth, which is not really my thing. I prefer even weave, and if I'm going to use Aida, I'd rather be like 16 or 18 count. So I got some 32 count white with silver sparkle even weave from Fabric Flair from 123 Stitch. I'm stitching this 2/2 with the fibers that came in the kit, including the metallics. So this project is a lot of fun. Each little block is kind of like a mini FO. My plan for this is to take it out every month and work on it a little bit and see how far I can get this year. I'm hoping to finish at least half of it, including the back stitching, which is substantial. Like most Joan Elliott patterns, they do require a lot of back stitching, but it looks really awesome, so it's worth it. So moving on, I started Siren and Shipwreck by Mirabilia on January 2nd, and I will insert a photograph of that. So I'm stitching her on 32 count sea glass Belfast from Hand Dyed by Steph. I started at the middle and worked down to the mermaid's tail. This project is working up really quick, and I'm hoping that I can finish it this year. I always try to have a mermaid going on because I'm working on a mermaid gallery in my master bathroom. So here is another Mirabilia, Nora Corbett, Blitzen. This one I started on December 27th, and it's stitched on 32 count opal. I'm not sure if the sparkles come up, but you may be able to see them. Opal Belfast from Picture This Plus in the pewter colorway, and this is small, like 5x7, so he's almost ready for beads. There's a little bit more stitching that's required in the corner over there. I'm hoping to finish him this year. I want to do at least 2 this year, and eventually do the entire series within the next few years, I hope. So now I'm going to move back in time a little bit. These are the projects that are sort of current that I worked on last year in 2015. So the first one is Celtic Christmas by Lavendar and Lace. I will insert a photograph. But here's my whip. So she is stitched on a 28 count cream cashel, and she's almost done. I need to do a little bit more in the upper corner. This one here, and then beading, of course. So I'm hoping to finish her this year and start Celtic fall, but with a color conversion. I saw a really pretty one that's in like oranges and greens. The original pattern is in purples and yellows, which are nice, but not really what I think of as fall. So here's another current whip. This is Mirabilia's Midsummer Night Fairy. This one is almost ready for beads. She's stitched on 32 count opal Belfast in the Royal Shimmer colorway from Silk Weaver, but it's pretty old. I used to be a member of the Silk Weaver Fabric of the Month Club. That was before they changed ownership. I love her. I want to finish her pretty soon. I'm planning to start Titania to go with her, and then I will hang them both in my bedroom when I'm done. So here is The Castle by Teresa Wentzler. I will insert a photo. And here is my whip. So it's about half done. It's stitched on 32 count Castle View linen Belfast from Silk Weaver, again old. And I'm using the optional blending filaments in the dragon to make it sparkly, which I love. This is my first Teresa Wentzler project, and it's kind of daunting, a lot of blends, a lot of fractional stitches, but I really love how it's working out. So this year I'm hoping to finish the dragon spine and work on the castle, which is perched above this rocky cliff, and the castle doesn't involve as many blends, so I'm hoping that it won't be too bad. So the last of my current whips is a Heaven and Earth design quick stitch. It's called Mask of Colors. And I started it, oh gosh, a while back, and it's kind of slow going because there is a lot of confetti. I'm stitching it 2/1 full cross on 22 count Lugana. And I'm not sure whether I really enjoy the stitching or if I just love the conquering the crazy chart, but the amount of confetti is just insane. So this year I'm hoping to get to the 75% mark, or maybe even finish it. Right now it's about 50% done. So moving on to my deep UFO, or deep whips or UFOs. The first one is a Dimensions Gold stocking kit. I will insert a pic. It's called Snowman and Friends. It's by, well, it's on 18 count white Aida cloth. So here's my whip. I started stitching this for my son Oliver after he was born in 2014. And I got like halfway through the project and I was like, man, this is a lot of work. So I did a felt applique stocking for him instead, and I'm going to set this aside until a few years. I mean, we'll let him use the felt applique for a while. That one turned out really cute. It's very sparkly. So, a very old whip. This is called The Maiden and the Unicorn. I will insert a picture. It's a pattern by Donna, Vermillion, Giampa. And it's stitched on 36 count antique white Edinburgh linen. So I kind of stalled on the border. You can probably see there's a lot of like fractional stitches that are required, and at the time I just wasn't very experienced on even weave. And 36 count fabric is pretty small. I chose this size because I wanted to fit it onto like a fat quarter, I guess, of fabric pretty much. Or, I don't know. I mean, it has a companion design called St. George and the Dragon, and I think what I did is I bought like a big piece of fabric and then cut it in half to use for both. So we'll see if I ever get to that one. But I am going to try to work on this year and get to like the 50% mark, including 2 sides of the border. So we'll see how that goes. And then last but not least, I have another Heaven and Earth design. This is a chart called Merlin and Arthur. Artwork by Scarp Gustafson, and I did like 1 page back in maybe like 2005 when I first discovered Heaven and Earth designs, and then I just put it away, kind of discouraged by all the brown. It wasn't all that much fun to stitch, really, but I do still love the design, and I want to work on it this year. My goal is to stitch down a few more pages to get to the bottom of the height of the project. And I honestly don't think this took that long, maybe like a month of stitching, so it's feasible. We'll see. And maybe I'll finish it in like 10 years or so. So that's it for my whips, and now I'm going to get into my haul. And some of this stuff is Christmas gifts, and others are just things that I bought myself. So the first is I have some fabric. It's all from Hand Dyed by Steph. I placed an order from her sale in November, and I got it on December 23rd, so it was like another Christmas gift. This is Ice Goddess 32 Belfast. Really pretty blue. I mean, it's not really all that transparent, but the light's behind me, so sorry. And also from that sale, I purchased this sea glass Belfast that you saw for my Siren and Shipwreck whip. And I don't know about how the color is showing up on the screen, but it's a really pretty like sea green. Not really so much blue, but more green. And I love it. And then I found under the tree this it's called Frozen Fractals by Hand Dyed by Steph, and I think it's just gorgeous. I was over the moon excited when I saw that my husband had got this for me. I think I'm going to stitch a Joan Elliott pattern on it, a snow fairy type thing. I have to do a floss toss. So a few weeks before Christmas, we took a little vacay to Williamsburg, Virginia, and I found this awesome LNS. It's called Haas Tea Roll. She had so many models. It was really cool. She had this massive needlepoint, I guess it was, of Neuschwanstein Castle, and it was huge and it was beautiful, and she had like a whole like wall display of Sue Hillis stuff, which, you know, I've seen online, and I never really was all that fond of it, but seeing it stitched up, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. So I did buy a pattern. I'm not going to share it today, but I put other patterns of hers on my wish list. So, this is one I got there. It's the Mermaid of the Pearls by Mirabilia. And then moving back into gifts. So this is Moonflowers by Mirabilia. Enchanted Mermaid by Mirabilia. Dancer by Nora Corbett, one of her reindeer. And here's Blitzen by Nora Corbett. You've seen my Blitzen whip. My goal is to do like both of these this year, and then accumulate the other patterns and stuff and do the entire series over time. And then this is Erie Express by Glendon Place. Really cool pattern, a lot of detail in there. There's like a witch and a ghoul and a black cat and like the moon and everything. I think this will be a lot of fun to stitch. I've never used Glendon Place patterns before, but I'm excited to try, and I love stitching for Halloween and holidays in general. Pretty much most of the stuff I stitch fits under either like fantasy category and or holidays. And then there's a few things I picked up on my own, a few patterns. This is the glittery Snow Santa by Vermillion Stitchery. Got this off eBay. It's a pretty big pattern, it's very detailed, and it is glittery, lots of krennic, I guess, in the snow to make it sparkle. So I want to stitch more Christmas, and I don't know if I'll get around to it this year, but hopefully within the next few years I'll make a start on this one. And then here's another Christmas one. This is The Magic of Christmas by Lavendar and Lace, and honestly the pattern photo doesn't really do that much for me, but I saw it stitched up on Facebook on like a gorgeous blue fabric, and he's holding a like the Christmas star in his hand, and it's hard to even see in the pattern photo, but it really you could definitely see it on the blue, and it was gorgeous. So I have to find some fabric for him, but this pattern is on the small side, around like 10 inches square, so I'm hoping to start it and maybe even finish it this year. And then my last pattern is Fairy Ideal by Mirabilia. Sorry for the glare. There we go. It's I got this from a Facebook transaction, and let me just say, Facebook, wow. I joined recently because I wanted to see some information about a retreat, the Mirabilia Millions retreat in Cincinnati, and I did sign up for it, and I'm going, yay, so excited, it's in April. But I joined, of course, other cross-stitch groups on Facebook and the Stash Unload group, and I've just seen so much stuff, and I've added to my wish list, like exponentially practically. So, and Facebook is where I learned about FlossTube. So I watched a few videos, and I was like, wow, I should make my own because I have plenty of cross-stitch to talk about. And then finally, I have a few embellishments to share. This is the bead pack for Siren and Shipwreck. There are a ton of beads in there. And this was a Christmas gift from my sister. Really excited to have this. It means I have no excuse for not finishing Siren this year because, you know, I have the beads and everything. And here are some beads that I bought for the Mirabilia Midsummer Night Fairy. This is not all that's required. I have a few in my stash, but there are quite a few beads on that project, and I'm hoping to start beading her maybe even tonight and see how far I get in a few days. I'm going to start a new project on Saturday. So that's it for my stitchy haul. Was that enough? It was kind of a lot, but like I said, most of it was gifts, and I had to buy some stuff for my January projects and everything. So lastly, I'm going to talk about my two projects which I framed recently. I do my own framing, and I cut my own mats and everything and buy custom frames off the internet for the most part. So I did two for Christmas, and here's the first one. This is Joan Elliott's Christmas Fairy. And this is double matted. The top mat is like a dark green suede color, which unfortunately isn't really showing up very well in the camera. And the bottom mat is like a gold metallic. I stitched her on 32 count Winter Sky Donna from Silk Weaver Old. And this pattern was it was a lot of work, a lot of back stitching, a lot of details, but I think she is just so gorgeous, and I love her wings. Like every little feather in those wings is back stitched, so like delicate and everything. And I love the halo. Every time I see her, it just makes me smile. And I'm kind of sad to be putting her away, but I have other stuff to put on the walls, so I don't keep my Christmas stuff around up year round. And then I have a project. The pattern is by Lizzie Kate. It's called Merry Christmas by the Letter. Sorry for the glare. There's glass on this one. I didn't have glass on the angel because I don't have the appropriate size glass yet. So I stitched this on 32 count raw, I think, linen from MCG Textiles from Joan, and the fabric was not very good. I don't think I'll ever buy that fabric again. But it worked out all right in the end, I suppose. I had to sew a little bit more to the bottom, which was a painstaking process. You might be able to see the seam. And then I did my initials below that. But basically the problem was the original piece of fabric wasn't cut square, and it wasn't just a little bit off, it was considerably off. So I started in the middle, as I like to do, and I had enough space at the top, but it was, you know, torqued at a strange angle, and then I definitely did not have enough space at the bottom. So this is a pretty big project, and I framed it with a white mat because it is so skinny, and the frame is green. It's like a green wood frame with some white distressing on it. The green's not really showing up very well, but it's like a deep, rich hunter green. I did a little nod to this pattern. I added brass charms to each line because I love the charms in Living with Charm, a similar pattern by Lizzie Kate that I have hanging out most of the year. And I wanted to do something similar for this one, so very happy to have this finished. And that is all I had to talk about today. So next time I'll do the Know Your Needleworker tag, and I'll talk about some finishes. I have quite a few that are yet to be framed, so I can share those, and then hopefully I might have a few, maybe one or two recent finishes. We'll see what I get to. If I'm lucky, you know, maybe I'll finish Midsummer Night Fairy or Celtic Christmas. So, and then I'll talk about, you know, a whip update and maybe a little stitchy haul. I did place an order from Needlecraft Corner, which is a LNS in Baltimore, Maryland. It's not exactly local to me. It's like a hour-long drive to get there, but it's a cool little shop, and I have been there before, and she has amazing sales. Very sweet lady who owns the place. Her name is Dreama. So I do expect to get that order pretty soon, and I ordered some thread and some other stuff, so that'll be fun to share. So that's about it, and thanks for listening, and see you next time. Happy stitching. Bye!